honestly, I don't even know what like after all the fucking lies, the capable whatever Matt was capable of. He has 4 fucking different channels that he has the ability to fucking strike with, and then his channel being verified, fucking, he can definitely strike down anyone around our group or like the live shows or any. We all got strikes every now and then, and like that's fucked. And when I really think about it, it was probably Matt. Matt deserves a fucking dick slap. What a fucking piece of shit. This is not like how people were in drama before. Like, oh, this guy did this, and we're all fighting each other and shit. This is like this guy tried removing our jobs.
Well, it's pathetic for.
Oh shit. You're officially blocked forever from my life. Leave me alone and don't post anything on T Clips anymore on my show or I'll copyright strike you. Fuck off. Thanks.
Okay, let's see. All right, there we go. Finally. Okay. Apparently was having some issues with the mic due to the OBS settings. What you just heard just moments ago before the dead air happened again was Andy Worski having a much change of attitude like then and now. Um, Last time we were here, we discussed how Worski was flagging people because he either disagreed with them or they were pulling pranks and trolls on them. And he was giving Matt all kinds of shit for essentially doing the same thing. In fact, Matt once did exactly the same thing to Cog. Cog uh, mirrored one of Monday Matt's streams where he looked particularly bad, and Monday Matt didn't like that, so he decided to strike his content. Now, he can try to couch this by saying it's his content, that's why he did it, but we all know the reason behind this was just to not make themselves look bad. So I figured I'd throw that out there that these supposed free speech advocates are just going to go ahead and censor you the moment it just becomes convenient. But we're not really here to talk about that tonight because right now I think that IBS is having a huge meltdown. Like, I think bigger on a scale than we've seen before. Like, this isn't a dumpster fire. A dumpster fire is just as small potatoes compared to this. What's happened to the dumpster at this point is it's gone nuclear and is causing a environmental disaster. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm not even sure how to describe it. Like just tonight, um, the UK publication, a tabloid called the Metro, they released an article on on some of the shenanigans. It's actually starting to hit the mainstream again. We haven't seen that happen in a long time. Yeah, sure, Jared Holt will write an article or two, but that's not really it's not really saying much. Although I should clarify that this isn't really mainstream. This is still just a tabloid paper, but nonetheless, this is becoming a top ranking item in Google News results, and it's funny to see the reactions that are happening here. The story's a bit old, but now of course people are spurging out over it, and the two main players involved would be Andy Worski and Ethan Ralph. Yeah, they keep on being frequent subjects on this show. So let's continue to delve into their misadventures. And see what the whole hullabaloo is about. And are Andy and Ralph sharing CP? Well, that's the big question everyone has. So I guess we'll dig into that. Let's take a look. Alt-right YouTuber shared vile sexual images of underage girls. A notorious YouTuber linked to the alt-right shared sexualized images of underage girls during a shocking live stream watched by thousands of people. I'm not going to read through the whole article. I think that would just bore people here, and I think they are pretty much familiar with the gist of the controversy. But essentially, what this guy goes into, this Jasper Hamel person, he goes into how basically Andy and Ralph appear to be sharing sexualized images of underage girls behind the scenes. And I'll just play this clip here. And then there's, of course, the full audio of this saved. So we're not just going to play this and take them out of context. We're going to listen to a whole lot more than just this.
I can show this, or it's so hard to tell if you're allowed to show these. Now, this person, she is 15, Ralph.
Let me see. Oh.
That's like
15, 17, what, almost 18K followers.
Yeah, as you can hear, there's not really much context given as to what exactly was going on. So let's add some more to it. Let's actually go to the actual stream this was taken from. Just give me a second. Now, due to some of the images that were shown on this particular stream, I'm not going to actually show it on air. But instead, I'm just going to go ahead and play some of the audio that was taken from it. And let me just get that real quick. It'll just take me 1 second. All right, so those of you who'd like to see the video yourself, I'm gonna link I'll leave a link to. I'll post a link to it in the chat. And okay, I see in the chat someone mentions weird feedback coming from my end. I don't think there's much I can do about that, unfortunately, but I'll keep that in mind. This is the video I'm going to be playing. It was a mirror uploaded by Autism Chan, who's actually been keeping track of a lot of Andy's shenanigans, especially the lead streams. And I'm going to go to. He has a lot of timestamps in the description, and one of them is relevant to here, and this will give us the more broader context of what's exactly is going on that clip there. So let me just play that real quick. All right, 3630, and press and play.
I can show this, or it's so hard to tell if you're allowed to show these. Now, this person, she is 15, Ralph.
Let me see. Oh.
That's like
15, 17, what, almost 18K followers. Cash Me app linked right there in the description.
Do you think I should? Oh, her Cash Me app's right there. Oh,
yeah.
Now, I can show this, or should I block this picture right here?
I'd block it if it's underage.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you know what? Hang man.
Because I mean, it's
It's
kind
not
of just
nude. It's
yeah,
not nude, but it's like.
but it's kind of encouraging it. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me go to. I'll do a snip here. So these guys are gonna get all fucked. So this girl apparently has erased her account numerous times. Where the fuck are their parents?
I don't know, Andy. I could ask you the same question at this point. Like, where the fuck are your parents? Because you clearly need someone to handle her at this rate. Like, the thing that the bright idea that Andy got in his head, and the thing that started this whole thing in the first place, and the reason why they're talking about like inappropriate underage pictures of girls, and being reported on tabloids, and being the months of rumors and speculation, and not handling it very well, which we'll get into that because it's a shit show. It is a real shit show on Twitter. And I imagine on the live streams as well. In fact, Ralph's probably talking about this right now on his own channel, and he's probably not having a good time at it either. And if his appearance on Cog Show is any indication, yeah, it's not a good look at all. Essentially, Andy got tipped off by some people who were investigating some alleged pedophiles on Instagram. Apparently, there was a scam going around where young girls were either soliciting nudes and for profit, or they were working with some pedophiles to go ahead and sell this material off to them, and they do so through some apps that are similar to Snapchat, but not exactly the same that Instagram offers. Apparently, it's called Storytime or something like that, and yeah, they decided to investigate it. Now, the big issue with this is I don't think they realize that there's a reason why there's only the FBI is the only people who are allowed to actually investigate these people. They're not familiar with the laws that specifically state that possession and distribution of child porn in any context, if you intentionally do it, it's illegal. It doesn't matter if you're doing it for the purpose of some kind of altruistic reason, like you're trying to expose a ring of pedos, or you're trying to raise awareness. But really, in their case, I think that they're just trying to eschew the drama about themselves because they keep on getting to scandal after scandal after scandal, as I've already covered multiple times on this channel. And this was last Friday, so this was right after Ralph flipped the fuck out over at Dispatch, and this was off the heels of the Pinecone Gate scandal that Andy got himself through, which itself was right off the heels of Andy breaking alliance with Ralph, Geek Cthulhu, JF, and I can't even keep up with the lore at this rate. There was stuff going on between Zoom and Ralph. There was stuff going on between Ralph and the Plate Gang, and there was just a shit ton of stuff. I mean, it was just absolutely ridiculous the amount of stuff that was going on at that time. And what did they end up doing? They decided to go ahead. Hey, we got this case on our hands. We got these internet investigators and sleuths digging into these pedophile rings. So why not just go ahead and put the focus on that, distract from the issues, and not actually have to worry about defending ourselves? And like, I don't know. It's not like everyone's been saying it's not a smart play. They've been criticizing them for like getting just a real boneheaded decision here. And the thing is, like, when you listen to these clips from the stream, when you listen to what they say in regards to what they can and cannot show, they know it's very clear to everyone who listens to it that they're just like, someone in the process of doing this had to have told Andy at some point this is a bad idea. Like, someone should have said, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Maybe this would be a bad look. Maybe this would get us in some legal trouble. Maybe we should hand this over to the authorities instead of like downloading this stuff ourselves. Because again, it doesn't matter if your intent is to expose pedophiles. If you're downloading the material, the crime is possession. The crimes are possession and distribution when it comes to child pornography. There's not an altruistic exemption from that. You're still guilty of it if you download it for illegal purposes. So I don't know. It just amazes me that this something like this would happen, that they would end up getting into this kind of trouble. And I just don't get it. There's another now there's a couple of quotes that the article cites, which they're interesting, but they're revealing, but it's not really the most damning one, because someone could come up with some kind of defense for this, like, oh, well, it's like, or some kind of excuse or something like that. And it's just, no matter which way you try to spin this, there's just no way they're looking good. From the article, he is also heard passing photos over to co-host Ethan Ralph, owner of online news site The Ralph Report, and discusses whether they were suitable to be shown on screen. Ralph, I'm going to open up my screen share for you, Worski said. I'm not going to show the audience yet, so you can tell me if these are, And if it sounds like I'm butchering up any sentences here, I'm not. This is just the way Worski speaks, because Worski's a retard. Do you think this should be allowed on the show? Ralph replied, let me see. Let me look. I don't know. It looks, I don't know. Can I show this? Worski asked later in the video after sending another photo. It's so hard to tell. This person, she is 15. He then sent the picture to Ralph, replied, let me see. Ugh. Now, they're going on about these, but this is not the most telling one. The most telling clip, I think, was actually isolated. Let me play that real quickly here.
Okay, I'm not gonna show that. I mean, they tried censoring it, but Ralph, do you see what I'm?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not gonna be fucking. Yeah.
Might be.
I wouldn't do that one.
dicey,
That could be a mole for all we know.
No, I'm sorry.
That could be a mole.
Yeah, it's not like an actual block on the nipple there. Yeah. I could show this, or it's so hard to tell if you're allowed to show these. Now this person, she is 15, Ralph.
Let me see. Oh.
Okay, I'm
like that quote in that clip I just played, the one where Andy says, "Oh, well, where SoulCal Chris, who for some reason isn't getting nearly as much flack as Andy and Ralph are, he specifically says that could be a mole for all we know." And then Andy says, "Yeah, that block isn't covering the nipple." And then Ralph comments that she's only 15. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure that a naked nipple on a 15-year-old girl counts as child porn. And there's just no getting around that. Like, they were looking at these images, they shared it amongst themselves, and they were talking about it live on a stream. Ralph's been saying, no, none of it's true, it's all false, it's all lies, but the clips are very clear. Andy is very clear. This isn't some 24-hour ops or some troll or something like that. Andy and Ralph did a really dumb, stupid thing here, and I see one of two outcomes here. And one or two, I should say, because both are maybe possible. The first one is, I think that Andy and Ralph are going to be having this follow them for the rest of their careers. I think it's already started. I think that the knives have already been drawn and they've already been stabbed into them, and they're kind of fucked, because anyone who looks in the situation is going to say, yeah, this is really fucked up. What the fuck is wrong with these people? And they're not really going to have sympathy for them for facilitating child porn. Like, it's just not something that people are going to say, well, if you look at the context and they're not really pedophiles, they were just distributing CP. It just doesn't work that way. And at the same time, the other thing that might happen is the FBI might actually look into this. I mean, honestly, I think the chances of that are low, but if they do, then one of two, like, they're going to find out about the stuff that they've been doing, and they're just going to go to federal. They're going to be tried on charges. They're going to be indicted. They're going to like they're pretty fucked at the moment. I mean, there's just I don't know what to say. In fact, for that matter, I don't think they know what to say. And I'm going to pull some of that up as well. Let me look at some of the chat here first. Not trying to get on a watch list, huh? Yeah, I really don't want. I don't want. There's no way I want the FBI looking into me either. So no, I'm not gonna put the stream stuff on here. Yeah, they're going to destroy YouTube, maybe, and Facebook and Instagram if they really get their ways with these huge fines. Going to be different. Going to definitely be interesting to see that play out. I liked reading the YouTube chat here. I'll look at that later. So it was troll shielding. I don't know, Robin Williams. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. I know that certain people have been troll shielding Ralph and Andy by downplaying what's been going on and what they've been up to, and basically trying to mitigate the situation in really dumb ways. Like one of them I heard was, oh, they just screenshot the images. There wasn't any actually downloading of them. That doesn't matter. If you take a screenshot of the illegal material and you save it, that's still possession and possibly distribution. So no, you're still fucked. It was a very dumb act. I never watched or took any interest in this eCeleb kill streaming stuff, but what Andy did was extremely reckless and tactless. Why did they do it? Motivations are obvious. There's 3 reasons I can come up with. The first one being they wanted to get results, and they did it without thinking. That's the most benign of the 3. I think that's really just the lowest motivating factor. The other one was the one I went over. They wanted to have a quick distraction from the controversy, given the timing of it in the midst of like several controversies they're already in. What better way to make yourself look good than compare yourself to someone completely rotten like a pedophile? And the third possibility is, and the one that they've been getting a lot of shit for, was it was a cash grab. They could easily get money, and in the meantime, they wouldn't have to think about the consequences. So they could just have their stream. They could show all this stuff, not do any research, not consult any lawyers, not think about the ramifications, possibly follow up an FBI investigation if there are any on these pedophiles. Because another thing that happened was they just started to the people who were distributing stuff that they're talking about that they had an issue with, they started deleting their accounts. So, and Andy was bragging about this on Twitter because again, he's just so retarded. And it's this recent reaction I really wanted to emphasize tonight, how they're just completely, again, it's like a meltdown. And see if I can pull up some of those tweets. That's literally what Metro did today. This is not the important one. This here. The people who come up with these false narratives sit on 8chan in a single thread all day, obsessing over me and Worski. It's kind of sad, but also hilarious. And then he links directly to Cow. Now, it's not really that much of a secret that Ralph monitors Cow. There's been several times where he's been caught doing it. But I mean, like this is just, Ralph, what are you doing? You can't handle being called you can't handle being called fat, let alone being called a pedo. They're just gonna, now that they know this is bothering you, that this is eating you to the point where you have to actually directly respond to them, these anonymous trolls on the internet that you have to go out of your way to refute, they're gonna do it more, and they're gonna fuck with you some more, and they're gonna contact more journalists, and they're gonna give them more tips about you. You're gonna be in for a hell of a time, and like the only time that you ever get into mainstream attention is when you get into controversies like this. So I don't know why you're adding more fuel to the fire with something this dumb. Let me just look through the general timeline of both these individuals. Now let's go visit Andy because he's a lot more. Ralph gets bigger hits with his spurgery. Andy is more consistent with his spurging out. So let's look over some of these. So Jasper Hamill dropped a hit piece on the Metro full of lies. His editor should be disgusted with him. Ted Byung, do you expect your writers to fact check? Now, this is something I've noticed that Andy likes to do. Andy likes to go ahead and call people liars and not present any proof as to why they're lying. He'll just say, hey, someone said something bad about me. They must be lying. And the most gullible of his audience will buy it. But over time, this trick has been working less and less and less. Hamill says, did you contact the police about what you found? Thanks for your time. I hope to hear from you very soon. I will probably write later today, so it would be good to get a comment. Please, thanks. Hey, man, we did not have images of underage girls. Okay, then what the hell were you talking about on stream? Like, can I show this folder, Instagram picture? Can I show that Instagram picture? She's 15, she's 16. I mean, like, Andy, what are you doing? Like, this is a dumb answer. You shouldn't, like, in these situations, you probably shouldn't. If you don't know what to say to a journalist, you're better off saying nothing at all. But this is just dumb. You're on record admitting to this stuff. Like, I don't know why you think you can just blatantly lie like this. That was Instagram public accounts. The things I did not want to show were in those Instagrams were just creepy images. Andy, what are you doing? You just contradicted yourself. Like, it's not even a contradiction. That's like, I don't know. I would never have any nudity of underage girls on my computer. I ate ridiculous. Now, this part was quoted in the article, this fragment here. I ate ridiculous. I gotta look at the chat. Can you guys help me out here? Like, I'm not even able to make out what this is at all. Zoom in there real quick. Ridiculous. This is what I'm talking about. Whenever I read off Andy, it feels like, there I go again. I'm misreading something. But in this case, it's like everything Andy says is a butchering of the English language. I just don't get it. Like, how did this guy ever get popular? Why is this guy such a big deal? I mean, like, say what you will, like, say what you will about Tonka Saw, he's a fraud, a liar, a manipulator, all these other things, etc. But Andy's one of the most exceptional dudes that I think I've ever had the pleasure of examining. He's just really on the spectrum. Like, it must be all the drugs. The people who had it were people who had found it, and the FBI and the police were reported. People clip that stuff out of context to make us look. And we'll go to the next image. People clip that stuff out of context to make us look like we did something sketchy. But I would never do that. Would be dumb and disgusting. Hello, thanks for coming back to me. So it's all misunderstanding. What about the image that were censored when you shared them? Next image says, did you edit them, and were they naked images of young women? Did anyone report you to the cops? Did you talk to the cops? Sorry to bombard you with questions. Hard to work out what's going on here. Thanks. Nah, that was just cut off for indecent pics from the Instagrams, but the massive file or whatever was from with the people who had handed this into the FBI and cops. I made sure nothing disgusting was sent to me because I know it's illegal and it's disgusting in the first place. There are these boards online that are trying to make us seem like we had it. It's not a misunderstanding. Wait a minute. Let's just backtrack there. Even if I was to believe Andy, even if I was to disregard what he was saying on stream, what he was talking with, what the conversations he was having with Ralph about the particular images, him identifying that one of the girls as being 15 years old and had an exposed nipple, etc. Andy is just, I don't think he realizes why this is a controversy. I don't think he really understands what he did. Andy has the mental capacity or thinking level of an adult. I really don't. And I think he's a sad, pathetic individual who should get off the internet and stop trying to be this, like, I don't know what he wants to be anymore. I guess he wants to be a comedian, but he's gotten so far off the rails from doing that he might actually end up behind bars and in a cellmate next to Bubba. And all because of his own stupidity. It's not a misunderstanding. It literally people trying to frame us, but we don't play with illegal activity. Just we don't play with illegal activities like that. Yeah, you just LARP as detectives online, do some investigative work, get some people to download some clips, take some screen caps of some other things, edit a few pictures here and there that may or may not be illegal, that sort of stuff. Yeah, I've just noticed that there was a technical error. OBS went on the fritz for a moment there, but we're good. Thanks for reaching out. In fact, 2 detectives are talking to some people today, and I am glad that circle of people are being taken down. There's absolutely no evidence for that last thing he said. None. No one's been able to show proof of that ever happening, and he made that up. He's lying. I'm calling it now. There's not detectives like actual FBI or Canadian equivalent of law enforcement talking with Andy and giving him the scoop on what's going on with this Instagram pedophile ring that they were looking into. Just no way. He's saying that to blow smoke up people's asses, and he's lied to his audience before, so I'm fully confident in saying that. All right, there's some more. Let's read this as well. And I am not alt-right. Of course, this is the big sticking point right here. Is Andy alt-right? A subjective, undefined label that gets put on everyone that isn't a communist. Yep, you're being accused of being a pedophile, Andy, and you're worried about what end of the political spectrum you're on. Great job. Expect me to go after everything nonstop and discredit your disgusting lies. The fact that you framed the title as if I was attempting to share this with file, which I never had. What you see on screen is a screenshot of the files. That is all. You need to make heavy revisions to the article. I will not allow you to smear me in such libelous and slanderous manner. Like, again, this is him whining and complaining that someone wrote mean things about him again. It's just, like, this is what these e-celebs do. They're not able to actually point out a grievance. They're just bullshitters, professional bullshitters. That's all they ever do. You weren't libeled. You weren't slandered, Andy. I've read the article. You're not being, like, you don't have a case here. You don't have anything to go on. You're mad on the internet again, and you're threatening a LOL suit, which you'll never ever go through. And the proof of that is the fact that, like, a month ago, you threatened to sue Jared Holt. A few days, you spurred out once you were called out that you would never do this. And after you spurred out, you said again on Twitter that, yeah, I'm really serious about going ahead and suing Holt. And guess what? There's no lawsuit. There's no litigation. You're not doing anything. I mean, I'm not exactly a big fan of I've already said in the previous episode, I don't think that the Vic Magona lawsuit was going to go anywhere, but at least he has a team of lawyers. At least he's taking steps to do something about that, about what they're saying. But you don't have anything. Like, you need to, like, Andy, it's time to stop. I don't know what else to say. I mean, then again, maybe don't stop. This is just going to give me people are going to be able to make content off of you for months and months, and they're just going to have fun laughing at you. If you refuse to make adjustments to the narrative you were trying to build, I will have no choice but to speak to my attorney and your editor. Andy, I don't think you have an attorney, and if you speak to his editor, you're going to be told to fuck off, just like this guy's probably told you as well. Retract the story promptly, as it is clear full of falsities and lies, or I'll take legal action. Again, no, there's not going to be any legal action. Andy's just a retard. That's all he is. Like, this is how dumb he is. He retweeted this. Jim is shitting on you, Andy. He's not laughing with you. He's laughing at you right here. He's telling you you're an idiot and you're stupid. You look stupid and you make yourself even dumber day by day. In fact, Jim adds, or this was the first tweet he said, which is a rather accurate depiction of what's happening to Andy and Ralph's career at the moment. I am truly awe-inspired by the sheer size of this one. Yeah, I got to agree. I have to 100% agree. I don't think that it gets much worse than this. The only thing that could be actually worse is if Andy and Ralph come out as pedophiles themselves. That's it. Now, just to clarify for the record, do I think that Andy and Ralph are pedophiles? No, I don't think so. I don't see any evidence of that. I see them just being really dumb, really retarded, and not thinking. And I don't think that they have. I think that what I think they should really do is stop worrying about their online reputations, stop picking fights with Cow, which is just going to make the situation worse. Stop lying to everyone and just, consult a lawyer. Seriously. Now, there is a couple of other things I wanted to bring up real quick. All right. Well, but before I do that, there's actually some more things that I wanted to get to. Now, what's interesting here is that JF decided to put give his take on this, and he tweeted out the article as well. Alt-right YouTuber shared vile sexualized images of underage girls. That's he's quoting the article there. He's tweeting it out. And what's interesting here is what happens in the exchange. Disappointed because, it's true, this is what happened, but knowing the history of JF and Andy, JF hates Andy. JF's not doing this to, let people know that Andy's this dangerous pedophile or whatever. He's clearly just doing this because he's got a bone to pick with him, and when he's weak, when your enemy's down, kick him. But it gets more interesting because Styx comments, disappointed that you posted this uncritically. A fairly clearly slanderous article from the Metro of all places, one that half defeats its own clickbait title in its content. Even if I give you the benefit of the doubt, that just means you didn't bother to read it before posting. Now, here's the thing. He's wrong. This article isn't slanderous or libelous. Andy did say those things in the article. Ralph said the things that they were quoted as saying. They don't even call him alt-right. They said that he's tied to the alt-right. He has been accused of sexism, racism, etc. And yeah, they didn't it wasn't a misrepresentation. Like, not liking the way the article was written and it being false are two different things. And JF follows this up, but here's the weird thing. Styx's main point is correct here. Like, JF responds, since Andy Worski has been posting 2 complete videos reviewing uncritically false allegations by my exes, I feel no shame in posting this. To be clear, this is what I'll do to anyone who posts smears about me. I'll treat them with the standard they treat me. So JF doesn't respond with, no, this article's true, it's factual. I'm just letting the public know what's going on for their own safety or something like that. He's not saying, I'm just laughing at a retard on the internet. I'm just having a few lulz or laughs. He's directly saying that, yeah, I know they're false. I know they're lies, but because Andy lied about me, that makes it okay for me to lie and slander about him. That's his defense. And to be frank, I'm not saying that everything Andy covered was. I'm not gonna I didn't go over the video that Andy did because he brought up a bunch of stuff in there, and I'm not gonna say that everything. I'm not gonna co-sign everything that was said there. But when it comes to the allegations from JF's exes, those are backed by court documents and dozens of witnesses. So they're not lying about you, JF. So the intent here is clear. JF isn't being some JF like someone posted in the chat. Yeah, JF is a snake. I mean, like he did support Cantwell, and Cantwell's one of the worst pieces of shit that has been at all associated with the alt-right. I mean, he makes guys like Spencer look like a saint by comparison, given all the shit that he's done. And JF supporting him just really shows where he's coming from. And let's read Venti's take. Even if this is the case, a little bit ignorant with his claim. If someone let's say slandered me right, I wouldn't slander them back because that would just make me a liar too. So in this case, don't you become someone dishonest? And yeah, surprisingly, she is 100% correct here. Although she's a thought, she's correct right in this instance. JF responds with, but my quote is no slander on Worski. It appears he did share these sexual images, and that would be a crime in Canada, no matter whether he thought he was some kind of investigator. None of the sentences in the article are lies as far as I know. Oh, that's real cute, JF. Yeah, you do that actually thing there, but you just said a moment ago that if someone lies about you, you feel it okay to lie about them. So it's just a dodge from the initial point that you happen to be correct, that you didn't actually bother to read the article. This is established. You've already confirmed this by your own admission. You're someone who's willing to lie about people just as some kind of as a tactic, like some kind of like some other internet spurks have said in the past. And I'm not going to bother reading the rest of the Twitter argument, but yeah, that JF is a snake, and yeah, just because Andy's a retard, I don't think that I don't like snakes, and like honestly, I think that people like fucking with this guy that's mentally disabled, they're wrong too. So, oh, and there's one more exceptional individual I want to show with their reaction about this. Ian Miles Chung says, I publicly condemn Andy Worski, who was just outed for, allegedly, sharing child pornography. There was always something off about him. Despite rumors surrounding him, I was always willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and take him at his word. Andy lied. It's really funny. Let's play this clip.
Thing out saying that he's going to make a video on me. That really actually set me off. I did not need to see that. I'm more than happy to just let him leave me alone. But he forced my hand, so I called the police. I actually called the police on him. I know what he does. I know he has illegal firearms. I know that he is deeply entrenched in the alt-right. I know that he has a lot of cocaine in his house. Yeah, he's fucked. He's fucked. I even talked to them on the phone. So, who knows? Maybe they'll pay him a visit very soon.
That's our golden boy in it, ladies and gentlemen. Always willing to give the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, I'm sure of it. I mean, honestly, between JF and Ian, it almost makes me want to feel sympathetic for Andy in this case. Almost. So yeah, that's pretty much my take on this situation. I think that what remains of the IBS crowd, the people who made a buck off of it, got really popular from it. With the exception of Jim, who at this point, I can't blame him at all for staying out of this one. I think that my earlier comment about him just not being consistent by not calling this out. No, honestly, looking at the situation that in this context that it's in, with every single person involved just dragging as much shit on top of one another as they possibly can, and just being absolute dicks to one another, I can't blame him but staying out of this. Like, there's just no point in they're already normally in these kinds of situations you have a clique or two that are causing a bunch of cancer shit, and everyone else has to pay the brunt of it while they get away with murder. But in this case, I just think that all the bad they deserve each other, really. I mean, what more can I really say? I will mention one other thing though that's related to this, and it's rather interesting because when I first heard the news about the Metro North article, the UK article, I had seen Ralph tweet something out. I'm gonna pull that up in a second. I actually gave a reply to it. Let's see. Let me do something a bit different here. Okay. Okay, let me pull that up. All right, let's switch over. Ralph says on Twitter, the UK press is in the gutter. The UK press is in the gutter. Not surprising to see such a wildly inaccurate article from Metro, which is one reason I don't bother commenting the reporter. Dankel has been going through the same thing. They want to see us all broken dead, and they think it's funny. And I simply ask, hey Ralph, how come you didn't link the article? And what this earns me is a block. Like, that's the thing that gets me blocked, asking him why he didn't link the article. Not any other shit I've said before. I've said some pretty nasty stuff to him, but just asking why he didn't link an article there. Now, what's funny about this is that it didn't just. Now, what's funny about this is something that happened like soon after this incident. On another server, like normally an unnotable event where apparently I pissed off one of the moderators. I think it's from Zoom server, this guy called Alt Keck, who, well, I'm not sure if he's part of the Plate Gang. In fact, the more I think about it, I think he's telling the truth when he says he isn't. He doesn't. He decides to kick me for whatever reason. I've never really had an issue with the guy before this, but apparently he got an issue with me. He kicks me from his server, and as I covered in a previous episode, the Plate Gang had worked with Ralph to target and belittle and dox Ralph's own supporters, which for some reason is not being talked about. And I think it should be, although I think it deserves more emphasizing on. And I'm surprised that Ralph has any support after that. Like, the evidence is, while there is some doubt as to the doxing allegations involved with that, the evidence is pretty damning as to Ralph's activities there. And what's interesting is that, and maybe this is just coincidence, I'm just speculating here, but what I noticed was the guy, this Alt Keck guy, after he kicks me, he doesn't leave it there because whatever, you don't like me, you can kick me from your server. Like, after this incident, which, I shared here with the Ralph thing, he actually comes by for a visit. And he said some things. They're very interesting. I'm going to share here. Let me just pull them up. Okay, let's get this right. And let me see if I can make this bigger. There we go. Oh, that's not good. Okay. Much better. Okay. So I see him enter the server. I say, sup. Hey, John. I ask him, how's it going? And he responds, I wonder if I can find your employer. I respond with, you're welcome to try, but that wouldn't be a good look for anyone associating with you. Any other threats you want to make? He responds with, I wonder what KF has found on you. And I just tell him that I'm not intimidated by people digging on me. And I don't know, like I said, I'm just speculating here, but the thing I've noticed is that anyone who seems to give Ralph a slight or rubs him the wrong way or just steps up to him in some way, they have a tendency to get fucked with, doxxed or otherwise. So, and this guy does have a connection to Ralph. Now he also went on in the server to admit that he paid Ralph $50 to ban somebody, which I might save those for another time, but. And he did have that refund, and he did actually, and apparently he had that reversed or whatever. But the reality is, this guy gave Ralph $50 to have someone else censored on Ralph's own server, and then this guy comes here making these dumb threats against me. Just figured I'd share that. I don't know if Ralph has anything to do with this. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does. I don't know. Just a fun thing to get those almonds activated a bit. Let's close that. Close that. All right. I think that wraps it up for tonight. Tonight was riddled with a lot of technical difficulties and other stuff. To be honest, there's a lot. With this controversy. Normally, when there's a controversy on the internet like this, it's easy to follow because there's an event that happens one week and another event that happens another week, and you're able to catalog everything and follow it all. That's how it was during the election for the most part, during like the old Gamergate days, etc. But in this case, with this, and even back when the IBS stuff was happening, it was usually just, oh, okay, well, Monday Matt just owned himself on the kill stream, and then you have to wait a while for the next thing to happen. But now it's like every fucking day, every minute, every hour, there seems to be something new. And I don't know if I can cover it all. I kind of wish I had more time just so I could make more streams like this, just to get into every needed detail. But at the same time, though, I kind of like them short and sweet. So, all right, I'm just going to read off the chat, and then I'm going to close things down. Gotta find where I last left off. Someone was mentioning something that Zoom had been covering. Which, in regards to the StreamMe stuff, I don't know what's going on with this, the alleged scam. I didn't catch his video on it. Although if there's interest in it, I will look into it and I'll cover it here, I guess. So who's going to call this in? Maybe give them a week until someone comes a knocking. Yeah, I'd wait a bit. I mean, it might not it might be a case of where the FBI won't investigate the matter because in order to convict someone on these charges, they have to prove that the person not only had on their I think there's plenty of evidence here to make a case, but I don't know if the FBI will actually look into it or not. We'll see. There's like a 50-50 chance actually in favor of Andy and Ralph being able to get away scot-free effectively, which in a certain sense, like honestly, since they're not actual pedophiles, they're just retarded. it's not the worst thing in the world if they don't face criminal charges, even if they did technically commit a crime. But I still think they're fucked. Like their careers are pretty much. This is not going to go away. People are not going to take this lightly, and I don't think they should. To be honest, I don't think, especially not after Ralph and Andy lied about it multiple times. In fact, I think it should. I think we'll have to cover this again tomorrow night to get into more of that specifically because I listened to Ralph on Cog's stream and he like lied his ass off on there, and I don't get why he doesn't just shop about it. Like really, that's honestly the best thing he can do at this point. Were Ralph and Andy troll shooting for themselves is what I should have asked. Generally speaking, Ralph and Andy will cozy up with trolls and other actors. Well, no, let me rephrase that because that's more Ralph's behavior, less of Andy's. Ralph will generally cozy up to trolls and ship posters and doxers, etc., and the like. He likes to be a white hat, but he's not at all. He does like to work with other people to do for his own purposes. Like, for example, Seattle for Truth, who was going about while Ralph has never been proven 100% to have doxed anyone. Guys like Seattle for Truth and other people in his old Slack chat, they were openly discussing doxing people and openly doing it with their accounts. Seattle was a crazy motherfucker who ended up becoming a murderer, so I don't really have much more to say about that. As far as Andy goes, I think Andy's doing less of like I think Andy likes to build friends with people that are I think Andy is way too trusting of people, and he builds friends with people that are just anyone that will give him the time of day and will just give him a fair shake, he'll be friends with. I just again, it must be the cocaine really. I wasn't aware of any previous controversy because I never followed or cared about these guys. Honestly, it's at the end of the day, is this really all that important? No, none of this is all that important, to be honest. In the grand scheme of the universe, that is. But is it funny? It's hilarious. I can't help but laugh at a lot of this stuff. You know, I'm surprised Zoom hasn't gotten himself into this since he was calling Andy a pedo back when the Snapchat leaks were going around. Yeah, that was a whole weird situation with the Snapchat leaks. I understand why Zoom went ahead with the allegations because they did seem compelling at the time. I know that since then he's changed his position on that, and I've looked at his evidence for it, and there's some weird circumstances surrounding the accusers and what they did. So I just at the same time though, I don't know. It's really complicated. I've never really seen anyone. The weird thing about that is, and the last thing I'll comment on that, I haven't seen anyone actually go through the chat logs themselves and actually debunk it. People just said, "Oh, they're fake," and then everyone just believed it. Okay, I guess. But are the people? But Zoom is correct. Zoom and Zoom, Medicare, and others have demonstrated that the people that are spreading these allegations are not very trustworthy, have very poor character themselves, and even if it turned out that they happen to be 100% correct, it wouldn't be because they're doing it for any kind of noble cause or altruistic reason. They would only be doing it just to fuck with Andy. He shared the leaks, but his credit, he was vocally cautious about it when he did. That is true. He was. And he also had misgivings about the way the people were handling it, especially when the girl wouldn't show up. Maybe Andy is using speech to text while drunk/high. He had scripted vids with his adopted stepbrother, reactionary stuff. It seemed fresh at the time. LOL. Do you know? No, talk about why Andy got popular. Yeah, I guess that was it. He hit a few bandwagons while they were on their rise. He was doing anti-SJW content for a while, and then he moved on to white nationalism for a bit, and then he decided to move on, but he never really he never really carved out a niche. I guess his niche now is kind of like drama, but the problem with the way he's doing it is he's making himself the focal point. So yeah, I just don't think it's going to work out for him because he's just too thin-skinned, he's too spurgy, and he's too unstable. And also the lies that he's been telling is just he needs to stop lying. Like seriously, stop. Oh, and the drug use, yeah, he's got to stop that too if he wants to. If he like, I don't really care for Andy to have a successful career. In all honesty, anybody at this point anymore. I think the idea that Andy is just this simpleton who's too dumb to do any wrong is a complete lie. I think that people should have paid more attention to the warning signs. Like, for example, this is a point that's brought up. I guess as part of like, it's fine to forgive him for this, but we shouldn't forget the fact that Andy was part of the crew that had bullied off Rage After Storm off the internet. Like people forgot about that. There was also the scandal that Andy was involved in where he was, well, you know what? I'm not going to bring that one up because I don't know. I don't think that's a good point right now. But he's done a bunch of shit, and I think people have been giving him way too much slack. Andy most likely have gotten popular because he's a dumbass and people like seeing lolcows. I think at a certain point, particularly after that he broke up with JF and started doing dumb shit like lighting his nipple on fire in a live stream, I think that was part of has become a permanent part of his appeal. And for whatever YouTube quote unquote career he has, it will continue to be a part of his appeal. Okay. For the Zoom thing, I thought someone coming in the stream showing the screen cap would be fake, but Zoom was saying he was wrong. Yeah, that exchange did happen. Something about cults, which I'm not sure if it's relevant to what I was talking about tonight, but I'm just gonna look for a few more of these. Some comment about Jim waiting. Okay, here's one directed at me. On the Jim thing, don't forget that Donga tried to sell Mr. Medicare stuff and never stopped calling Jim everything save for a child of God after Jim left. Andy and Ralph haven't done that. Yeah, that is true. Like Tonka Soy just completely. I don't know what happened to him. He was okay for a while, but but apparently one falling out with Jim and Jim's enemy number one. He said a lot of stupid shit. I don't think he just did a 180 on most of his opinions. He was the guy who once said, "Burn the skeptic community to the ground," and he's like, "I'm gonna make friends with them. I'm gonna be friends with Kraut, and we're gonna work the audience to go ahead, and we're gonna give Kraut a redemption arc." Well, okay, he didn't use those exact words, redemption arc, but he was trying. He did try to make Kraut have a comeback, which, I mean, there are certain yes, it's true that there are certain things that are overstated about Kraut and what he's done in regards to certain actions. For example, Zoom had to admit recently that Kraut and Sargon were right about Coach Red Pill. Zoom had I don't know if I would say you could go check out Zoom's channel for that, but Streamy died, so I guess maybe you can find a mirror or an archive of it. But at the same time, like Kraut still did some dumb shit, some really gay shit, like come up with all these stupid disinformation campaigns to like essentially subvert his political opposition, and that's just faggy. What else is there? One strange connection is the Jeffrey Epstein, JF, Drunken Peasants, Billy the Fridge, Zoom, along with the DP's Discord moderator being Mr. Representative Mod, who allegedly was a pedophile. I know about the Jeffrey Epstein connection to JF. I know JF's connected to Drunken Peasants. I'm not familiar with Billy the Fridge, so after that point, you kind of lose me there. That sounds like something that you know what you should do? You should try to see if you can build a network map with that, because one thing that these people don't like is like something that I think that people kind of are not picking up on, and something that I've been hitting on when it comes to Gamergate, and I think I've briefly touched upon it here and there on these streams, but I think it needs to be emphasized a bit more. There's a lot of talk about gay ops in going on by this group or that group. You know, people meeting in secret and planning shit, like usually stupid, dumb shit that's either LARPy, socially unacceptable, or just wrong. Like they're getting together to fuck with somebody, essentially. But I don't think that's real. But a lot of times people see, well, you know, people kind of sort of do that in a positive way. I mean, back in Gamergate, I remember everyone was doing ops and everyone was bragging about doing ops. Now, granted, Gamergate was pretty fucking gay, so I guess it was all gay ops, but not all that shit was nefarious. The real thing that's going on, the thing that people should be really focusing on, like, and I'm not saying that like, you know, getting together into like a private Discord and fucking with someone is a good thing. No, fuck that. That's retarded. But the thing that people should be focusing on, the thing that is worse than the planning stuff, is this push for e-celebs to get all this money and power to themselves and build up these networks that just create these systems where one person does something that's fucked up, like Sargon on a regular basis, as an example. Most recently, when he decided that, hey, you know what? I'm going to try to contact the Wall Street Journal, and I'm going to go ahead and tell them that, yeah, you know what, Andy, you took out Ralph, now you should go after Andy. Like, people forgot about that. And then what did the skeptics do? They're like, oh, well, you know, that's not really the way it went. It was it wasn't really him contacting Wall Street Journal. He was just giving it a retweet. He was just signal boosting it. That's okay. It was just a joke, man. It was it was just an account, a sock account. Like, who cares about that? It was a blatant attempt to deplatform the guy. And again, I'm not like, and again, Worski's trash, but the skeptics have been free speech advocates for the longest time. And when Ralph confronted him on this, Ralph kind of handled it poorly, but Sargon wasn't much better. Sargon just was basically like, fuck you, I can do whatever I want. And if these skeptics had a shred of honesty or decency, any of them, like at least any of the ones that continue to support Sargon after this, if any of them were honest and they believed in the things that they fucking said, instead of just being blatant liars and hypocrites, they would have come out and said, you know what? No, fuck you, Sargon. That was pretty shitty. We're not going to support you for this. And you know what? You're going to have to owe Andy an apology for that. They would have done that, but they didn't. They didn't do any of that shit because they don't believe in anything. What they want at the end of the day is money. And it's not just the e-celebs helping each other. There's also the little psychophants and little water carriers here and there that do all these sorts of things. And they all have e-celeb syndrome. They all want to become popular themselves. And they want to make a lot of money doing it, and they don't care about anything else. So they will lie to you and to everyone else just to make that happen. And they'll do it over and over again, and they don't give a shit. Some do it for money, some do it for social benefits. Some are true believers in the cause, and they'll just kind of overlook the bad stuff or justify it as like some kind of 3D chess maneuver because they're retarded. At the end of the day, like, I mean, like, these stupid cliques, they're the problem. This factional faggotry, these friends helping friends, like, it's just dumb. It needs to stop. It needs to go away. And I don't think it'll get better until people build that mentality that these support networks, like for money and influence, they're not worth selling your souls away just for like whatever. I don't know. I think you get the point. I think I've been rambling too much about that one. But anyway, there's one more comment I want to read, and then I'm gonna actually close down the stream. All right. So the only reason Sargon and Kraut opposed CRP is because he made fun of Kraut, and Kraut is probably still but definitely at the time was Sargon's lackey. Yeah, I agree with that. I think at the end of the day, that was their motivation. And honestly, I'm tired of this. One thing that I don't like, one thing I think needs to be examined is this idea that you can just go after someone just because you don't like the guy. Like, I'm not even talking about lying here. Oh, well, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to destroy this guy's reputation, not because this guy is a con man or he's a fraud or he's a scammer or whatever, but just because I personally don't like him. This isn't for public good, and I'm just going to destroy the guy's reputation. I don't think I can't really say that that's really the right approach to go about doing things. It's just like, it's not, at least not in general. Like, yeah, sometimes it is personal, but you have to point out a scumbag's a scumbag, and defending yourself is one thing. But in cases of people like Kraut, in cases of people like, in fact, Sargon, I think even Sargon, a lot of these anti-SJWs fall into this category. They'll just basically, they'll go on these campaigns to destroy people, and they're not doing it for any kind of, and the funny thing is, they'll criticize Gawker and other outlets, well, when Gawker was still around, but I guess Gizmodo, Splinter, Jezebel, and it's not just them, like New York Times, Wall Street Journal, any other number of these bloggers, I guess, and various other social justice warriors for doing the same thing. But like, it's just, in their case, like, the thing is, they like to paint them all as liars, but again, just like Worski does this thing where he just calls people liars, but they're actually telling the truth. They're also telling, like, they also have dirt on them. The truth is, everyone has skeletons in their closet. There is no exception to this. Like, and yeah. So anyway, I'm just rambling a bit again. So all right, that's the end of the show tonight. I'm going to do another show tomorrow night because I don't think I covered this topic fully enough. And also, there is some other crazy shit that's bound to have happened by the time tomorrow's comes. So yeah, this weekend, going to do another stream. Hopefully at an earlier time though, either at 8 or maybe even 6. But we'll see. You guys have a good night and peace out.